Welcome to Tasting the Peninsula. Join us. Your guides will be Eric Little, ably joined by Jeff Angell. Eagle Harbor Wine Company owner and winemaker treats us to some barrel lore and her latest offerings. Winery founder and consultant says Washington wine is unfairly underrated.
I have to tell you, I can't think of any place I'd rather be on the peninsula right now than in the barrel room of Eagle Harbor.
Oh man, I can't believe the smells I'm getting off these barrels.
And these are the top tier. Emily!
Hey guys, how are you? Nice to see you, Eric.
Good to see you. Good to see you again.
Hey, how are you, Jeff?
We're so excited to be here. But I got to tell you, I just noticed this shiny piece of new equipment.
Yeah.
What do we have here?
This is our press. So it's a Cocard bucket press. It's great. We got it the end for last season. So this is our second year we've had it. You pull the basket out with a forklift. It's great because one person can do it.
Nice.
So the basket comes out. We can load it up with all the must, and put it in and turn the program on and fill the barrels.
Is that hydraulic pressure?
It is.
So it should give you some very precise.
It does, yeah. It's set up with
slowly.
a program for 8 steps, so it's got, yeah.
Nice.
Just does it gently for a while, and then a little more, and a little more, and we taste it as it comes out to see what the flavors are. If they get too bitter, we stop it, turn it up, and turn it off.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, you have the most advanced barrel program of any winery on the peninsula, if not the state. Tell us what we have here.
Well, we've got quite a few. I mean, I love my barrels, and I work very hard to match the forest that the barrel's coopered from to the varietal that I put in the barrel. Doing a little barrel fermented Chardonnay there. I've got some new IE Vosges barrels here. We just put the Cabernet Franc, the 2022 Cab Franc in these barrels. Want to take a look?
I do.
Yeah, let's see. Have a peek.
You're going to love this.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love the smell.
So, and yeah, we've got, I use partial new, so there are a few new and the rest are neutral, so they've been used a few years, but they're all have our logo. Oh, they're all forest designated.
Okay.
So these are all IE Vosges forest. That's what I like for the Franc. I use Francais forest for my Cabernets, Juppy forest for my Merlots, and a Burgundy style for the Syrahs, and some Hungarian too. I have a couple Hungarians too for Syrahs.
They've been making oak a long time in Hungary.
Yeah, well, the trees have been growing there. Yeah, they've been making barrels for a long time too. They go neutral, but it still is lovely for lengthening the tannins on things. Like Sangiovese is a varietal that I don't put in any oak at all. I mean, I put it in oak, but no new oak. We use all neutral barrels for that, so that it still lengthens the tannins, softens the wine, brings out some of the flavors, but you don't get the oak influence.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I do. Well, I'm getting thirsty just talking about these. Maybe we should go taste some.
We can go do that. Would you like to sample from the barrel?
I would love to sample.
All right.
That's my favorite. Well, one of my favorite things. I love barrel samples.
So this is our 2020 Stone Valley Syrah, so sourced from the Rocks District in Milton Freewater. So it's going to be
I love your guys' Syrahs.
a little bit of interest in here. It's got the Rocks District creates a really distinctive note and flavor. So it's there have stones, pudding stones, very similar to the Rhone in France, and it's just created a lovely. I call it a funk. That's not the best way to describe it, but it's kind of got.
It's a good funk.
It is a good funk, yes. Thank you.
Yep. Grandmaster funk.
So, and you can smell that distinctive.
And it's got such fresh, subtle berry plum. I'm telling you.
So we're going to be ready.
It's already a beautiful wine.
We're going to be ready to bottle this as soon as we get everything done here, get everything finished from harvest. So then we'll get this out.
I love experiencing wine at different levels. Out of the barrel is so much fun. Thank you for doing this for us, Emily.
You're welcome.
This is delicious.
It's got that distinctive, so it's got the dark berries and the leathery fruit, but it's got that nose that just is the rocks. The Syrah.
And the leathery, almost a little bit of cedar like in Rhone wine. Right.
Yeah.
This just whetted my appetite for more of your wine.
Well, let's go taste some more.
All right.
All right.
My favorite part. And this is a beautiful wine, but I haven't had this vintage.
This is our OMNU. This is one of our current release, or our recent releases. We released this to our wine club November 5th. So this is our Super Tuscan style blend called OMNU, Naked Man, Nude Man in French, for the drawing on the label. The original's up there on the wall. And this is 50% Sangiovese from Red Mountain, 25% Cabernet Sauvignon, also from Red Mountain, and 25% Merlot from Walla Walla. And I try to use 50, 75, sometimes 100% new French oak each vintage if I can. Yeah. So it depends on the vintage, but
that's expensive.
It is.
It's worth.
But
This is even better than the last vintage I tried.
Yeah, last vintage had a little Cabernet Franc to boost it up and get it to that flavor, but really easy drinking, pairs really well with food, and people like to drink it just on its own.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. It would be great, because of the low tannin levels, it would be great with a tomato-based dish, which...
Obviously, yeah, Italian, Super Tuscan, you know, you're going to get the Sangiovese to do that. This is our 2019 Red Mountain Syrah. So we barrel tasted some 2020 Rock Syrah. This is going to have a totally different profile.
Beautiful color. Elegant nose.
I don't like my Syrahs to dry the palate out. You know, I don't like wines that all of a sudden you taste it and you go, you know, I can't breathe, can't taste, you know, and so that's the style that I make, is it doesn't do that. So if that's what you're expecting, you're not going to get it here.
I wasn't. I don't like getting slapped in the face. I like it to approach slowly.
Totally different than the other.
Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah. More fruit, kind of showing less of the dark tannins and dark leathery kind of fruit. I mean, that Rock Syrah is very distinctive. So.
Yes, very. Yeah.
And
this is elegant. I mean, it's still going on.
Yeah, you get the finish.
Very complex. Nice finish. Beautiful color.
Thank you. How about, let's try some Merlot. So I have our new Founders Merlot, which is from Aria Vineyard in Walla Walla. When I bought the winery from Hugh in 2014, he bought this vineyard, and this was our last vintage from Aria Vineyard. So, sorry, not a lot left. So again, aged in French oak, Juppy Forest specific. I like the Juppy Forest for all my Merlots.
You know, I have to tell you, Merlot's got such a bad name after that movie 15, 20 years ago, but people are beginning to realize that one of the best grapes we grow in Washington is Merlot. And it's different than any place else I've had. Certainly different than California.
That's a nice fresh red fruit.
Oh, yeah, beautiful color.
So
nice finish. Good acidity. I like the good acidity and balance with the fruit.
Well, let's try that compared to this one. This is our Reserve Merlot. And well, it's a blend of a couple vineyards. So we did some Bacchus and some...
Bacchus is now.
And some of the Aria in here. So that's a Columbia Valley designate. Reserve being our best barrels. I believe these are all new French oak. and they were in the barrel for about 36 months.
All in French oak?
Yeah.
Wow.
Plus,
Very
we
few
did
people able to afford to do that. Big nose.
Huge.
Mm. Oh, it's like sweet fruit. Perfect balance.
Big fruit.
This is amazing.
I love the fruit
Really thrilled.
and the elegant finish and the long lingering finish. I mean, you just get those red berries just,
Bursting in my palate.
Yep.
yeah. So,
As it goes down, you get first here. The whole mouth gets covered.
I like it that way.
Me too.
And that finish is still going on, but it's so elegant, so subtle, while still being firm. I mean, it's there.
Yeah. And beautiful color too.
yeah, you don't get the, even though it's new oak, I recently switched most of my barrels from medium toast to heavy toast because I found that the heavy toast doesn't actually impart as much oakiness.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought the other way around.
Yeah, you'd think that, but after years of trying it different ways, I decided now heavy toast is the way to go. It brings out the luscious flavors that you want, but it doesn't give you as much of that cedar and
Overpowering.
on the palate. Yeah,
It sure is a great product.
this is.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I like that one.
So what do we have?
This is our old 2018 Old Vine Cabernet Sauvignon from Red Mountain. This was from vines planted in 1976 at Kiona Estate.
Wow. 46 years old.
Yeah,
5.
the vines, not the wine. It's all right.
No.
But still, the older vine is, the lower the yield, the more concentrated the flavor. The more the roots go down 100, 160 feet and pick up some of those mineral qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
That is so fresh. And I love your non-heavy approach to the tannins.
Yeah.
This is, and now, bang, bang. Now it's coming in my palate. Full. Elegant.
Thank you.
Delicious. Better have it.
Now, the fun thing about this one is, and I'm going to show you, or taste the next one, is our Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. And it's from, I'll show you here on the map, I'll tell you the story here in a second. It's also from Kiona Vineyard. Well, it's not Kiona Vineyards, it's from a different vineyard in Red Mountain. Also farmed by Kiona.
Yeah,
But
this is the Cab Franc.
this is a Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon 2018. So that was a 2018 Old Vine Cab. And this is the 2018 Reserve Cab. And here's a map of Red Mountain. So the Old Vine Cab is from the Estate Vineyard here. This is from the heart of the hill. They're about a half a mile apart. And you tell me what you think about the difference. And I'll tell you why. This is not,
This is a beautiful color. The color
yeah,
deeper.
deeper, more purple, more blue. Mm-hmm. Different nose.
Completely different now.
Yeah.
That's surprising. Oh my. Totally different.
Oh, unrecognizable.
Different.
From the same appellation.
It's a different clone.
And it's got a little higher acidity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different clone of Cabernet Sauvignon. So this is called Clone 8. No, Clone 2. Sorry. This is Clone 2. Your traditional is Clone 8.
Okay.
So this is the Clone 2. And it's, again, made in the same style. We do the double inoculation. We do the, barrel aging in the Tronchet barrels. And they age for about the same time. But
The
just,
difference comes from the different areas in the appellation.
and the clone. Yeah.
Clone type, yeah.
Yeah. So I really like this clone.
I really like this too.
Me too.
And I mean, not a touch of brown. It's just all this beautiful garnet with a tint of purple to it. I love it.
Like that Cabernet color. Perfect description. One more.
I'm having a hard time spitting these wines.
I know. Thank you. So, Well, thank you for letting me share those with you.
Are you kidding?
So-
Anytime. Emily, this has been delightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. So, Jeff, nice to see you guys again. So,
Very enjoyable.
thank you. So, thank you for coming and letting us tell you a little bit about Eagle Harbor.
It's been our pleasure.
Well, we're here with Hugh Remash, the consulting winemaker at Eagle Harbor, who started the winery. And I'm kind of curious, what did you do before you started Eagle Harbor? How'd you get your chops?
Well, I was in the wine business, and prior to starting Eagle Harbor, I worked for an importer and distributor, and he gave me a very good job, and I was not very good at it.
Different wines.
I was not very good at it, and so I was let go, and I thought to myself, well, what do I know how to do?
Well, I think we all know the answer to that.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
an exceptional winemaker.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I got my chops with Walla Walla Vintners.
That's what I heard.
It was the eighth winery in Washington State. Their license is the 8th winery. Well, I better correct that. It's the 8th winery in Walla Walla. Okay? And that's saying something.
Well, there's so many exceptional vineyards out there. I bet you had a chance to meet the growers. And I mean, we all know that wine starts in the vineyard.
Yeah.
And you have such great wines. We know you're doing great with the vineyard. So you must have built some relationships in that time.
Well, at that time, there were very, very few vineyards, and they were being planted in and throughout Washington, actually, around 96, 7, 98 in there. And a lot of the vineyards were being planted in 98 in Walla Walla. So I do know several of them, and I've actually made wine from several of them in Walla Walla and Red Mountain, but a bit elsewhere here and there. Alder Ridge, for example, is some wines from the Wallach Slope.
There's
Washington
makes a nice cab from there, but I like yours better.
All right. Washington vineyards are getting older, and as a consequence, it's my opinion that the wines are getting better. Yeah, I think that Washington is highly underrated, overlooked. I don't think people understand just what kind of quality is coming from.
And we have more microclimates in Washington than any place else in the world. I mean, there's so many different places that will raise unique grapes. I mean,
That's true. Yeah, the Walla Walla has, I know Walla Walla well also. I can tell you some things about Red Mountain. But there are numerous microclimates, as a matter of fact. But Walla Walla itself has at least 4 different soils that I can identify. For example, just in that Rocks District, there is the Rocks District itself, which is cobblestones.
yeah.
Pure cobblestones, okay? But just south of that, there's a hillside where there are a number of vineyards. It's called Sauvignon and Summit View.
I think I've heard something.
Yeah, and Summit View, and those vineyards have quite a bit of elevation as compared to the rocks, and the soils are considerably different. The soils there are very shallow on cracked basalt.
You have extraordinary wines.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we try very hard to express the variety. That's a very important thing to us. And we also try very hard to express the source, the vineyard. There are 2 vineyards we use in Walla Walla, actually 3. And the Merlot from Dwelly Vineyard, which is at about 1,400 feet, is very different.
Wonderful Merlot.
That's right. It's very different than the Merlot from Pepperbridge Vineyard, which is at about 400 feet. It sits low down in the valley, gets a lot of cold air. And so they're very, very different from each other, and we try to let them express themselves as best we can.
I think that's one of your secrets. You let the wine talk instead of stamping your imprint on it. But
Well,
I'm a fan. What can I say?
I know, but why make why should a small winery like Eagle Harbor make a commercial grade similar to, say, what one of a large company does? Why should we do that? Well, first of all, we can't compete with them in terms of price. Secondly, we want to appeal to people who know something about wine, who have some experience with it, or who are willing to learn something about wine. That's our clientele, and those are the people we tend to try to please, right? But also, I believe that customers, consumers, ought to understand and know what a Cabernet tastes like, or what a Merlot tastes like, or what a Sangiovese tastes like in its purest form.
Well, and you have a number of wines that are 100% the varietal, Cab and Merlot. And not a lot of people do that anymore.
No. Well, most people don't understand that's unusual. Most wines in the past were blends.
Yeah, well, they only have to tell you about 75% of the grapes. So they could put 25% Syrah in with a Cab.
Right.
And it's a Cab.
Sure, that's right. Well, that's the law. You can call a Cab if it has 20% of something else in it, and people do. And most grapes and most wines in the past were blended. They were not 100%.
Traditionally.
Right, that's exactly
Bordeaux,
Yeah.
every place except for Burgundy.
That's true. But we have 100% Cabernet, 100% Merlot, 100% Sangiovese, 100% Cab Franc. We have made 100% Petite Syrah, and we do have some in barrel right now, 100% Petite Syrah. So we like to do that. We do
make some beautiful blends.
Yeah.
I mean, your
make
Super Tuscan blend, your Raptor. I mean, you hit on all cylinders, Hugh.
Right. Well, there's a blend that I'm particularly fond of in the 2019 vintage, which people are responding to very positively. It's a wine we call OMNU, which is French for naked man, because there's a naked man on the label.
And you painted that painting.
I did.
I was impressed.
And then, but it's 50% Sangiovese, 25% Merlot, and 25% Cab Sauv. It's really a nice wine, and it's just recently someone whose palate I respect mightily says this is a superb wine. And one of the problems, and he said this, and he's owned a wine shop for years, he said the problem is this: if you submitted this to a wine reviewer, because you aren't a big deal, it would get 89 points. And he said what probably would be truer is that there were some wines, and he mentioned, I won't mention them, that are getting 95. It should be reversed. He said, I feel that your wine is better. So, but that's okay. We don't submit.
You don't sell on points. You sell on what's in the glass.
No, our idea of things is we want people to enjoy the wine and to sample the wines for themselves and decide for themselves whether they like it or not. And we've had a lot of success with that. One of the satisfactions I get from being in the wine business and making wine is when I see people enjoying themselves with wines and getting a little pleasure out of life. It's a source of great satisfaction to me to see people at the winery tasting room, for example, having a good time and enjoying the wines and talking about them. And that's very pleasing to me, very rewarding. It's a very rewarding experience.
Well,
I need to be
worked hard your whole life. It's about time you.
I need to be rewarded somehow because Lord knows making this stuff is not easy.
No, especially when you pay attention to detail like you do.
We tried to, so it's a lot of hard work, a lot of time. Not so much physical labor, although there is that too, but it takes a lot of time.
Well, and Emily's barrel program is the most sophisticated I've seen.
Well,
Peninsula, if not in Washington.
She's very good at that.
She is.
And if we're careful, for example, we have a Cabernet that she had considerable hand in 2018. And it was on new oak for 36 months.
Wow.
And unless you're very sophisticated, you can't pick up the oak. If it's done, if barrel aging is done properly, well, it should enhance the taste, the complexity, the depth, the length of the wine, if it's done properly, but it shouldn't slap you in the face. In fact, unless you pay close attention, you don't really notice it at all if it's done properly. It's a tough call.
Well,
which barrels
not
to use.
Easy. That's for sure. Nothing you do is easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. Emily should be complimented for her capabilities with picking barrels and picking the right toast on the barrels. I wish wine consumers would understand that vintages are different, particularly if they're interested in wine. If you want to go to the store and pick a bottle of wine for dinner that evening, just pick one that you're going to like and go for it.
A huge percentage of wines bought at a store, something like 85%, are consumed within 3 or 4 hours. I mean, and so a lot of people say, well, I don't need to make this wine to last since everybody's going to open it when they get home.
Right.
I'll vinify it so that it all comes to a peak right when it hits the market. And you don't do that. Yours is good all along.
No, we don't. What we try to do is make the wines tasty and approachable immediately, but at the same time, we also try to get them to age significantly. And we have experience with that. I've tasted some wines of ours that are 10 to 11 years old at least, and they're showing quite well.
I'm not surprised.
We have a Cabernet right now that I did mention, and which was so long in oak. And it's absolutely quite good, but it's really quite young. I can tell you that down the road a piece, it's a 2018, so it's already 4 years old.
Which was a great vintage.
That was a great vintage, you're right. But I'm suspecting that in 4 more years, it's going to be even better. I think it's going to grow and get more complex, but right now it's quite delicious.
Well, I'd be happy to help you analyze that at some point in the future. Thank you so much for this time.
You're very welcome.
I always enjoy talking with you.
This show and many others are on our YouTube channel at Tasting the Peninsula. Please feel free to leave comments as well as to like, subscribe, and sign up for notifications.